Hey, hey. What's up, everybody? This is Naela. I'm here to host the table talk for today with Black Mothers. We are celebrating Black Mothers. We're close to Mother's Day, and we are super excited to hear from these phenomenal women. Yes, what's up? Hey, Neva. Hi, Frederick. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. We are so excited to talk to some phenomenal women today about their experience in motherhood. And yeah, we've had some technical difficulties, so thank you for joining. My phone died as soon as I was starting this live, and so with the grace of the universe, of the mother universe, okay, we have been blessed to be able to get back online today. Yeah. And I got my little prince here today as well. What's up, y'all? Thank you for saying hey. Yep, this is little Noah. He's getting his jam on. Yeah, you ready for the show? Say what's up. Say hi. So hopefully we're gonna see some other beautiful babies today, y'all. So Neva, if you are watching this, if you could please send the questions here in the comments, that would actually help me because now I'm operating on this one phone and my other phone needs to charge. Okay, and so we have some different guests here today. Yes, and Jalisia Pinson is going to be our first person. So here we have her, and we're going to bring her on in. Give it up for Jalisia, y'all. Oh, okay. Well, we're glad you're here, Jalisia, and the universe is working in our favor today, sis. So, so we
Amen.
made it. So, okay. Well, let's start. Like, do you want to just first tell me a little bit about you? Because I think we met briefly. I don't know if you remember this, but I think we met briefly at the Give event a while ago, like maybe a couple years ago.
With Alex. Yes, Alex Vining. Shout out Alex
Yes.
Vining. That's my girl.
Yes. Shout out to Alex Vining. That was an amazing, amazing event where just some
Yeah.
super talented people came together and just celebrated our wins and just celebrated even the struggles in the journey, right?
Oh
And
yeah. It's
yeah,
like a
so that was,
celebration of womanhood and all the different, spaces and evolutions that we find ourselves in.
yes, absolutely. So hopeful that
Yeah.
Alex will do more of that because that was really dope.
I know. Hopefully this pandemic will end and we can be outside together.
Exactly. Folks out here getting their vaccines and
I
hopefully
know.
masking up. And yeah, so we can be able to get back together.
Yeah.
So,
But
okay, so we got some. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say so a little bit about myself. So I literally just popped a baby out about 2 months ago, almost 2 months ago, a month and a half ago.
Congratulations.
Um, and I have a 3.5 year old. So I have children, not just one, but I have two children.
Wow.
I feel like I'm really solidified in the mom gang now, and it's been a wild ride. I'm married to my high school sweetheart. We've been married for almost five, 4, 5 years. I don't know. We got married in 2017.
Okay.
We've been together since 2015, but then, we were also together in high school too. So, um, that's just a little bit about me. And I'm really excited just to talk about like Black motherhood because I feel like I really take pride in that aspect of my identity so much. So when Geneva asked me to participate in this, I was like, oh, you know it. I think it's so important for us to, share our voices and to use these platforms to elevate our voices and to really talk about our experiences and come together. Because when you talk about it, you realize you're not alone in this journey. We're all kind of stressed out. We're all struggling. We all got kids yelling for us in the background when we're trying to do something. Um, and so I just love the idea of us just coming together and having these conversations.
Exactly. Yeah. And we
Mhm.
appreciate having you. And we need that authenticity. Like, we need to hear
Oh
from other
yeah.
moms. You know what I mean? Even myself, right? I'm a first time mom. My little one over here is 1 and 4 months. So I am
Oh
excited to
yeah.
hear, to just
Oh
hear
yes.
what your journey has been like.
What's so funny is like when you have little kids and young kids, as soon as someone's like, "Oh yeah, I got a 1 year old or I got an 18-month-year-old," you're like, "Ooh, I know exactly where you at in the struggle right now, sis. I know
Yes.
exactly where you at." And I feel for you. I really feel for you, you
Thank you.
know. I just already know how that is. And then plus it's funny having another child. it's like going through those phases all over. Like I'm in that newborn phase, right? Where my daughter just slept through the night for the first time.
Mm,
And I'm like, yo, what am I? And I'm breastfeeding. So I'm like, my breasts are engorged. I'm like, what's going on? Is this, is everything going to be okay? And I still woke up a couple times. You know how that is, right? In that phase, I
yep.
still woke up a couple times. Um, but again, I just love it coming together. Oop, I see my girl
Mm.
Tiara's in the group. Hey T,
What's
Black
up?
Mamas, Black
Yeah.
Mamas.
Okay, so we do have some questions. We're kind of already diving into it, and I love it. So let's just keep going with
Yeah,
that
let's
flow.
go.
So the first question is, what does being a Black mother mean to you?
That is such a good question. For me, being a Black mother, um, for me, it's all about, breaking or stopping those generational curses. When people talk about just, again, like the history of us on this country, I feel like there's so many, there's so many areas and spaces where we really just need to heal. And so for me, being a Black mother is like being a healer of myself, and
Mm.
then maintaining and trying to create a safe space for those around me to heal, like our Black men, to make sure that they're healing, but then also at the same time to create safe spaces for our children, so that they don't
Mm.
have to, we don't have to continue to pass on all those traumas and curses that we had to deal with.
Right. Yeah.
you
And
know
what is that like for you when dealing with the dynamics of like family traditions and values and
yeah.
like things that are changing for you in the way that you want to do that for your family?
It's so funny. Me and my husband, we talk about this all the time, just in regards of
Mm.
discipline, right?
Mm.
I feel like every single Black person has stories of getting some crazy butt whoopings, right? And I'm gonna just put it out there. Y'all gonna look at me like I'm crazy, but I do not whoop my child. I don't. I don't give her spankings.
Mm.
She might have been popped maybe 2 times in her whole life, and I felt so bad about it. Because that's just kind of how we were raised. That's how we were taught to, like, a child gets out of line. They need a whooping. A child, makes a mistake. They need a whooping. A child talks back. They need a whooping.
Mhm.
And for me, I just, and again, I'm not a judge or hater of people who whip their children, because that's how they know how to discipline. But for
Mhm.
me, I felt like there was a different way and a better, more effective way for me to parent. And for me to
Mhm.
discipline, and so for me, that's like the glaring example that I think pops out first whenever we talk about, doing things differently than generations past. Um,
Mhm.
just because I feel like, when it comes to especially our young Black children, they really just need to be protected, more so
Mhm.
than anything, and not just their physical bodies, because we know that our physical bodies are constantly in threat, when we go out into the world, but also like their mental and their emotional and spiritual selves too need to be protected. And I just feel like these conversations about, like, tending to a child's, mental headspace, tending to a child's emotions, were not had in generations past. It was kind of like children are
Mhm.
seen and not heard. And a lot of us
Mhm.
have grown up, with certain mentalities around ourselves and certain insecurities around ourselves because of that. And so I feel like if we can just address those needs now and actually tend to our children holistically, then we can sort of, now mind you, we can't avoid everything. Our kids are still gonna have issues because they're growing up in pandemic. We got all kind of craziness out in the world. But if
Mhm.
we can try and facilitate as safe a space as we can for them holistically, I think we're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, right.
You know.
So, okay. So I talked to a lot of mothers about this and, and we have these conversations, right?
Yep.
Um, and they all, you know, I think when you're standing like on the outside of the forest, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, like I see that whole vision, like that is beautiful. And then I think there's also this point when you're in the forest.
It's hard. Oh, it's thick. It's deep. It's hard. You get lost in it, girl. Look, you talk about that forest. We're down in the Amazon right now trying to figure this out. And then you have those moments too where you're like, am I right for this? Like me and my husband are always saying, we've never seen this done. We don't have the blueprint or the example. And so, like, is this the right way to do it? Because like we got whooped and we came out great. We got, we got hushed. This is grown folks' business. Don't talk about this, hush. I ain't trying to hear all that. We got that. And we're all right. So it's like, sometimes it is that worry and that fear, like, okay, how are our children going to turn out? Are they
Mm-hmm.
going to be okay? Are they going to be able to matriculate in a society where, for I have daughters. So when I think about how Black women are treated and how they're seen at such a young age and how they're cast off as they get older, are they going to be mentally tough? Are they going to be strong enough? And then you get in those moments where, your child is maybe tearing the house up, talking, doing all kind of things. And you're like, ooh, you need a whooping, you know? But it's like, I'm not about to do
We
that.
got
That's,
lots of hearts on that.
yeah. See, but you know what I'm talking about, where it's like, you're trying to, do things as not even perfect, but you're trying to just be as mindful and as conscious as you can be. But there are
Mhm.
times where it's like, we're human too. I'm about to yell because that's just, my mind is fried right now. I can't think about everything, and then you're pulling on me at the same time. And oh, let me pause and be quiet and calm and address. No, it's. I think it's almost unrealistic to think that I'm gonna be, or we are gonna be like that 100% of the time. Because
Right.
it's hard. It takes so much patience, and I
Mhm.
don't know. I don't know if we have that much patience. So
Yeah, and I'm curious. So, okay, so one of the next questions, and I'm going to link
yeah.
this to what you're talking about, but one of the next questions is,
Hmm.
what lessons have you learned being a Black mother? And before you answer that, I want to add a little bit of context to the question.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
because
Okay.
we're going to dive deep here for mothers that are going through, we're going through trailblazing our own experiences
Hmm.
in different stages, and some of us need to hear from you. Okay.
I got
So,
you, sis. Don't trip.
so, so what does it look like to find the balance for the two of you? And as parents, right?
Yeah.
When your child is at a stage where some things are clear, that they know what you mean,
Hmm.
right? They know what you mean when you say, don't touch that, or
Stop.
we're not gonna
Yeah.
do that right now. Right, that stop thing, right? So like where does the balance happen, right? Because in theory, it's like, oh, we're gonna count down, we're gonna breathe deep, we're gonna, hun, we're not gonna do this right now. Let's look at this option, right? And that sounds great in theory,
Yeah.
and then we have our children who are like, yeah, I'm not into all that structure. Like, I'm fluid and free right now. And my
Yeah.
expression is frustration, it's rage, it's I'm kicking, I'm hitting, I'm
Yeah.
doing all of these things, right? Where do
Hmm.
you find that balance from both from like that like toddlerish learning how to understand what parents are saying to where you may be now, where it's like
Yeah.
we're having full sentences.
Full
We know
conversations. Yes.
sneakiness exists, right? Like all of
Yes.
these things. How does that, where do you find the balance in that? Because a lot of Black mothers, specifically speaking about our community, right,
Yeah.
are trying to find this balance of like, um, where do I have boundaries, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
make sure that those values are honored. Um, and and where's the line between me kind of just rolling over and
Hmm.
like not giving, actually giving the structure that I'm here to give, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Well, what I will say, well, two things I want to start off with. First and foremost, yes, I am going to impart as much wisdom as I've been given, but I can only
yeah.
share from my experience. I'm
Mhm.
not the spokesperson, I'm not the professional, I'm not the expert on Black motherhood. And then the second thing I
Mhm.
want to say is, oftentimes, whenever I find myself in a space feeling stressed, insecure, feeling like maybe I'm being rolled over on, it's often because we're comparing ourselves to how things were done to
Mhm.
us and how, previous
Mhm.
moms and grandmothers and great grandmothers, would have done it. We're often comparing ourselves, and we're even comparing ourselves to what we see on social media. We see all
Mhm.
these moms, doing all these activities with their kids, and they're just participating perfectly. And so, in those moments, I often have to check myself and be like, this is me in this moment. I have to root myself just in the reality of where I'm at, and then just cast everything else aside. And then think of a
Mhm.
couple of things. I'm always thinking, okay, well, is my child safe? Are they
Mhm.
actually being disrespectful? Is she
Right.
actually like disrespect, or is she just having a hard time understanding something?
Right.
I'm always trying to be conscious and think a couple layers below what I'm seeing. She's not just yelling because maybe she's yelling because she feels like yelling. Is that disrespectful?
Right. Right.
Maybe she's crying because of something. Is that disrespectful? Is she wrong for that?
Right.
But really what we'll do in those moments where it's like, okay, I need to take a deep breath first and then tell her to take a deep breath. If she's not having that, what I'll honestly say is, okay, well, if you feel like crying, if you feel like doing this, go ahead, get it out, do what you got to do. And when you're ready, come talk to me. We can talk. Let me know when you're ready. There's so many times where I will tell my dog, let me know when you're ready. Okay. Take some deep breaths and then let's try this again. Because I feel like sometimes with children, they might just get overwhelmed. And whether it's, they're excited about something, whether they're mad and they're trying to just cope with the fact that mom and dad just said no, and so it's like, okay, you got to deal with that. And I'm going to try to walk you through it. But if there's times where it's like, no, you ain't having none of that, it's like, okay, go ahead and do that in a safe space. Where it's like, for me, I might, go sit on your bed. And if you need to cry it out, or mom, we just take it, crisscross applesauce right here in front of mom. When you're ready to take some deep breaths, then we can rejoin it. The only unfortunate part is, and luckily I haven't been there quite yet, but I know I'm going to be. But I know that it's probably going to happen out and about in public at some point. My child's going to flip out at the grocery store or in front of some grown folks. And I'm probably going to be like, oh my God, these people are going to look at me crazy, like I'm a bad mom. But I'm again going to have to do like I started with and stop comparing myself, just completely ignore whatever adult gaze is around me and just remind myself, okay, is my child being disrespectful? Does she just need a moment? Does she need some patience?
Right.
What does she need in this moment? Because I'm a grown adult. I know how to handle my emotions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's our job as parents and as mothers specifically, especially whether you are, I mean, really sort of any type of caretaker for a child, but it's our job as caretakers to like help guide them through, the emotional ups and downs and really help them figure out how to regulate. I know that
Mm-hmm.
I'm long-winded, sis. When Geneva asked me to come on here, I was like, oh, I can talk about it. So just let me know if I'm talking too much, okay?
No,
Maybe
I
put up a
think
little hand, countdown or something, but
do a little countdown. No, I think this
something.
is great, and I think a lot of us are just waiting for your book to come out. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm gonna say.
Ooh,
Okay.
stop. Don't get me started. Don't get me, ooh. I be reading
So
too.
yes, let's get it. Okay. Look, I'm
Yes,
surprised this is your first live, and I'm hoping that you will do more because you have a lot of lessons to share in the journey
oh,
that you're
thank
going through. Like,
you.
yes, there's a lot of wisdom that's being captured in these moments. So please, like, continue on, share it all because these messages are being passed through you,
You
okay? And
are
we
so
receive.
sweet. Thank you. I receive it. Hallelujah. I
Yeah.
receive it.
So, okay. So, and one thing I wanted to say too, in just in reflection to what you just shared, is this piece that like it's challenging adultism, right? It's challenging this idea that as adults, like
Yeah.
we have to always be in this superior dominating role, right?
Yes.
And it's learning how to be in partnership with our children and
Yeah.
knowing that like they are the experts of their own feelings and what they need and their
Mm-hmm.
expression
Yeah.
and not taking that personally, right? Like,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
ooh, what is that? And trying to remember, like, there have been times that I needed to take a deep breath. I needed to go, ugh, and I
Yes.
couldn't,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Right? And to the point where you carry that into your adulthood now,
Mm-hmm.
where when you need to take that deep breath and go, ugh, you're holding it, you're
Mm-hmm.
holding it. And why?
Yeah.
Because it's this learned survival thing, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and so just hearing that and really wanting to amplify that piece right there around like, am I actually being disrespected? And what does that look like based on the
Mm-hmm.
value systems and the beliefs that I'm carrying, and which of those beliefs are limiting my ability to emerge in my
Yeah.
relationship with my child? So yeah, so
Yeah.
thank you
I
for
mean, and
that.
think about this too. One thing that I always am observant of is just when we have like genuine and natural emotional expressions, And you know how a lot of people, will either be in a situation where they feel like they can't express their adults. I'm talking about grown adults, will be in spaces where they feel like they can't cry, they can't express themselves, they don't know the words, they don't really know how to communicate, adult to adult, how they feel. And I feel
Mhm.
like that starts at childhood, that starts when
Mhm.
you're young,
Mhm.
not being given the space to feel how you feel a genuine expression, because it's like, you get a whooping and then you're supposed to smile and sit at the table and be happy. And it's like, well, no, I just got hit. I kind of want to cry, but
Right.
that we carry that with us. Um, and so I just feel like it's really important for us to kind of allow our children to express themselves in that way. Again, so long as it's not disrespectful, because I'm not gonna front here and act like I'm just Miss Peaceful Rainbows and Butterflies all the time. If disrespect is occurring, if we're saying, shut up, mommy, or if we're throwing things, we're gonna shut that down. Um,
Mhm.
but then we're gonna take our deep breaths, and I'm gonna make sure I'm not centering myself around her behavior, because it's
Mhm.
not about me,
Right.
and we're going to take them deep breaths and then we'll
Right.
address it, but it is a fine balance. But I feel like so long as, like you said, you don't take it personal and make it about yourself,
Mhm.
then that's a good starting point. Mm.
Okay, so look, we have a few other sisters here, so I'm gonna tap some folks in to join
Yeah.
in on this powerful conversation. Let's see. Okay. So this is my first time doing this, so hopefully if we get lost, just do another request and we'll link you back.
Okay, I see someone. Hey.
Hi.
Hi, she was just dropping everything.
How's it
Like you just
going? We're glad to
good.
have you.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be here. She was like, she dropped the whole book, like you said. Like she
Oh,
covered
you got the
everything.
little one.
Right.
Right.
Oh,
Hi,
stop it. Thank you.
beautiful. Wow. So please, sis, please introduce yourself and your lovely, lovely, I want to say amazing royal little queen there.
Yes, look at that
Yes.
little beauty.
Yes.
Mhm.
Hi, y'all. My name is Deja. Um, I don't know. I'm just sitting here soaking it in. I was like, yes to everything. Yes, Jalisia, right?
See, we
Jalisia,
have
right?
those shared experiences. Yes, you got it.
Yes. I'm not gonna go off on too much of a tangent, but you start talking about the spanking and whooping stuff. I had a whole live on my personal page. I had to stop and kind of talk to people about that. Like, hey y'all,
Yeah.
again, no judgment, but let's just have a conversation. Let's just talk about it.
Hmm.
But yes, my
Mhm.
name is Deja. I'm a mom of one. Her name is Kaya. She is 2 years old. So we're in the good toddlerhood stages right now.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I'm also a birth worker, so I'm a doula. I support families who are
Yes.
preparing for their birth experience and postpartum.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I've been looking forward to meeting you today, sis, because
Yes.
I had the chance to read your story.
Mm,
And let me just say, it touched me in a way that I realized there was still a lot more healing work I needed to do around my own birth story.
mm,
Amen.
mm.
So if you don't mind, can you okay, we have a couple other questions here. So I guess we'll just kind of ping pong. If y'all hear a question that you would like to answer and it just stands out to you, feel free to do so. So some of the other things we have here is what makes you proud to be a Black mother? What piece of truth would you give to your sisters? Um, and I'm assuming who are going through motherhood, experiencing motherhood. And then we have like, what lessons have you learned being a Black mother? And then what does being a Black mother mean to you? And so if any of that leads you in a direction where you feel called, please do.
Deja,
Yeah,
the floor is yours.
thank you. Can you hear me better? Geneva was saying my sound was a little bit off. Is it
Hmm.
sound a little bit better?
Yes.
Okay. Um, again, I don't know. Like you were like hitting all these different points. I was like, all of it. I think my thing when we talk about Black motherhood, a lot of the conversation around motherhood in general centers a lot around like the child, right? Like the parenting aspect of what's the baby doing or what are the kids doing? What ways are we disciplining or how are we parenting? And a lot
Hmm.
of what you started to touch on, Jalicia, with like the healing aspect of ourselves, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it's really getting overlooked in the motherhood conversation. I feel
Yep.
like a lot of the conversation starts with, you know, even when you have your baby, it's how's the baby doing? How's the baby sleeping? How often is the baby eating? Is the baby a good baby? And it's
Mm.
like, I
Mm.
just carried life, my whole life as an individual, completely changed. Like, I'm a whole new person. And then
Mm.
you kind of get into motherhood and you get down the line looking in the mirror, kind of like,
Layla,
who am
go on in there
I?
with daddy,
You
okay?
know, what happened type of thing. And
Yeah.
we overlook ourselves so much in the process of motherhood that, like you said, we can't even, okay, baby, I started up for you. We a lot of times can't even have these conversations about what that looks like what emotional regulation looks like for our children, because maybe I don't know how to even emotionally regulate myself, right? Like maybe I
Yes.
haven't even gotten that opportunity to figure out myself how to calm down in some situations. So now, like you said, I'm expecting like her to know how to do this, and she just got here a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so that's the biggest thing that sticks out to me, is like us getting neglected in the journey, like us overlooking
Mm.
ourselves, kind of society overlooking like the mother in the mothering, you know, or
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
the woman, rather, the woman in the motherhood.
Mm-hmm. That's
Mhm.
real.
And there's so much focus on, and I just want to like highlight one specific thing you said was like, is the baby a good baby, right? And it's like, what do you mean? Like, aren't we all intrinsically good, right? Like we're born good. Like, what do you mean? Is the baby a good baby, right? But these are the kinds of questions that we
Layla,
get, and then we
go
get,
on in
is
there
the
with
mother a
daddy,
good
okay?
mother, right? And everyone has their own judgments and standards and structures around what they believe a good mother is. And so we're constantly having all of these pressures
There you go.
and assumptions over our heads, where people are like, oh, looking for why you're not doing mothering at the standard they believe you should be doing mothering at. And it's just their own projection. A lot of time they don't even be living their life in that same way that they're,
Exactly.
trying to push you in. And so it's interesting to just to hear that, and then to also bring in the fact that there is a standard, right, that has white supremacy at the top of it in the structure that we're living in, and we're constantly being compared to that standard. And it's like, I'm a black bodied indigenous woman. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I am a black woman, right? And so we're constantly up against this thing that is going to continuously deem us as like something's broken or wrong. And so it's about like, what pieces of our culture, our traditions, our histories are we reclaiming, right, and
Mm-hmm.
taking with us, because it's not all negative and unworthy of bringing into the future of black lives, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so like, how do we weave out those pieces, like, and I think that that's a big piece, because a lot of our elders are like, hey, these are traditions and you're not doing these traditions. These are the reasons why we did these things. And for us, some of those traditions are also associated with traumas. So so where do you where do you find the balance between those things? And so either one of you that want to respond to that, please do. I'm sure that folks that are listening are like, please, yes, speak to this point. Like,
Deja, I'm gonna let you go first because I'm long-winded, girl. Go ahead. Unless you want to throw
Ooh,
it to me, but go ahead.
I just
I
have
am
like,
too. So
no, I just have like something that pops up for me. So I was prior Air Force. I joined the
Mm.
military. I always say this, that I thought I was going to join and go live my best life overseas, like Germany or Japan, but they sent me to North Dakota. So that's where I'm living at right now, is in the frozen tundra of North Dakota. And it was tough to like start out this journey, me and my husband, like Jalisia was saying, like figuring out the pieces, like, are we doing this right? But the one piece that I will say is that the isolation and us kind of like leaning into each other as we
Mm-hmm.
navigate the journey without kind of being right down the street from everybody. I know that the experience that I have as a mother and the way I'm mothering her is a lot different had I been in physical proximity to my family.
Mm.
Um,
mm,
so I just think about that aspect, that, yeah, we have we've chosen to do things a lot differently. And I feel like I haven't had as much friction because I've been in my own bubble, but there was those points in time specifically with my mother, and I've had to have conversations with her over this period of time of my daughter being born, that like some things I'm just not going to do it that way. And it's not a personal jab at you to say that it has anything to do with you. It's that I'm choosing maybe to mother in this way. And there was some friction there where we had to get to a point of like, hey, if me and you are going to have this relationship, I need you to understand again that this has nothing to do with you, the way that I'm choosing to mother her. Like, these have to be separate conversations. Like we can have a conversation about my relationship with you as my mother. And then again, I get to choose how I mother her. And if I come to you for guidance and again, taking some of those pieces that, again, not all are bad, awesome. But if I choose not to spank or whoop her, that's my prerogative.
That's your choice.
And so what do you think was like a turning point for you to kind of to express that voice? Like, how long did it take? Like, when did you have the moment where you were like, okay, like now is the time to express this boundary with my mother, right? Like, you value your mother's opinions, you value, the things that you were taught, and also you have your own things that are reshaping.
Yeah, it was a year in for me. It was right at my daughter's first birthday. The first year of her life was really rough for me, experiencing career changes. So I left the military. My husband got laid off of work. There was like family stuff going on. The focus was not on the fact that I had just had a baby. It was like everything else and everybody else. And I was going through postpartum depression and anxiety like bad. And I just got to a point again of like looking in the mirror, like, what happened, and kind of like trying to piece things together. And as I was trying to check in with myself and heal myself, I was like, this right now, this dynamic that's happening it's not allowing me to get to that space of healing. It's not allowing me to get to that space of being able to really focus on myself. So I had to set the boundary where I kind of stopped talking to her for a few months, where I had to just like be like, what is going on right here? So I was a whole year into my motherhood experience before I was like, it can't keep being like this. I can't keep
You had to protect
doing
yourself,
this.
protect your mental and your peace. You had to do that. And I feel like that's so necessary for us mothers because, like you said, we kind of talk about the mom kind of gets neglected. And if we are neglecting, then everything else is going to fall apart. Everything else is going to feel that too. And not only were you becoming a mother, but like you said, you had all these other things going on. And so you really we have to be intentional about protecting ourselves. And so in doing that, there might be a sense of guilt or like, dang, like this is my mother. But sometimes it can be that person that you have to protect yourself from,
Right.
So I commend you in doing that, sis. That's huge.
Well, please share with
And
me.
Jalisia,
Yeah.
we're gonna say like, please share with us, your
Yeah.
feedback around these pieces.
Well, I
And then
think
I'm
for
sorry, sis,
me,
before you do that, it looks
yeah,
like we have one other sister that we're gonna add in. So I'm gonna add
okay.
her in, and then so that we're not interrupting you as you go into your
Yeah, no,
piece.
you're good. You're good.
Okay, 1 second. Okay. Okay, Geneva. So I sent the message. If you can hear me, sis, I sent the request to have our third person join. So while we wait for that, Jalisia, if you're ready, please
Yeah,
do.
I think for me, the idea of sort of protecting myself, my peace, and then protecting my children. Unfortunately, I had to flex that muscle. Ooh, the fire alarm's going off. No, you good, babe. I had to flex that muscle pretty immediately in my first pregnancy. I was working in a religious space and with a religious company that had a lot of opinions and a lot of negative energy because I was pregnant and I wasn't married yet. And so I had to really flex that muscle of like protecting my mental headspace, protecting my spiritual space, and protecting my physical body, because we all know that pregnancy is a very emotional, time. You got all the hormones biologically going on. Mentally, you're, getting ready for a life change. Physically, you're tired. And so I had to flex that muscle from the jump. And so when it came to things like, people making comments about what her skin tone is. Oh, she's going to be a red bone and all this. Oh, is she going to be light skinned or this? Now, mind you, I know that in our community, even in family members, I know that they're saying it out of love and they're kind of saying it playfully. But for me, it's just like, none of those things matter. Talking about her hair. Oh, is she going to have hair like yours? Is she going to have this? Is she going to have, and it's like, we're just going to stop those conversations, because it just doesn't matter. She's going to be beautiful no matter what. She's going to be strong, even things, because again, I have daughters. It's always from the very beginning been very important to me to make sure that I protect them, in that they're not just being labeled as beautiful, but also strong, intelligent, brave, kind, caring, gentle, all those things as well, because I want to make sure that they're being poured into and fed in those ways as well, and they're being empowered in those ways as well. And so for me, and I think I'm so blessed that I have, and my husband will clown me, but I have a family that's very receptive of when I say, hey, look, this is how it's going to be. They be like, all right, and I'm the baby in the family. So maybe I don't have like the same fears and like speaking up or whatever, but, I'm blessed to have a family. I saw them and I was like, we ain't about to do all that. But, I feel like I've been really blessed to be in a space where my family has been pretty receptive, and not just family, but friends, and just the world at large that has been invited into my space and the space of my children, to be like, hey, we're going to be sensitive to these things. We're going to be mindful of how we're speaking about them. We're not going to talk about them when they're in the room. We're not going to do certain things. I'm not going to, stress about my child's hair or her hair texture. I'm going to take care of it. We're all natural in this family, and so it was those sorts of things that I really had to flex that muscle in the very beginning, that I mean, pretty much once the baby got here, it was like, oh yeah, we're protecting her. It's just, I had to leave the job. I had to leave that space, and it really was just about, protecting my own mental welfare, my own mental wellness and spiritual wellness, because then, everything else will fall apart if I don't do that. And I do want to say, sis, I'm loving your locks. My husband's been trying to tell me to lock up. He's a locker. He has everybody. If you're not on, you should follow my husband's YouTube page, TP Locks.
Okay.
We talk all things hair, family, all the things. But it's just always been very important for us to protect her and protect ourselves in that way. Yeah.
Thank you for that share. And yeah, there were so many different dynamics that you actually just brought into play, including like the suffering's edge of religious differences, right? And like saying that yes, we may be praying to the same God, and we may also have different ways that we go about our relationship with God, right? And sometimes that can be different from even your own upbringing, right? And it doesn't mean that it's separate, but then you may sometimes have folks who are like who are in your family who feel like it's separate because they're not, because they can't quite connect to it. But one thing I do hear you saying, Jalisia, is that it's beautiful that you have folks around you who are a part of that support system, who are like, okay, this is the resonance that Jalisia is on for her children and her family, and we can respect that even if we don't necessarily live the same exact way or don't necessarily fully understand it or speak that way. We can see why it's an important value to you, and we support that whole family unit in that way. And that's powerful because not every mom has that, but it is needed, and it's beautiful to know that there are moms who do have it, because we need to celebrate the resilience in ourselves and in our families and what we do have too, right? So thank you for that.
Amen. But hey guys, really quick, it's dinner time in my household.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to get out, but I know that there's probably some more moms that are going to hop in. But Geneva, thank you so much. Naila, this has been amazing. I'm so glad I was able to participate. Deja, I can't wait to hear about your story tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay. I'm probably going to log out, but then be in the live so I can still listen. But thank you guys so much for letting me, share my story.
It was
Thank
so
you so
good to
much.
meet you.
Yes, looking
Okay.
forward to the book, sis.
You girl. Okay. Tell Simon and Schuster to hit me up. All
All
right,
right,
y'all.
peace.
What you recommend, Kaya?
Okay, so it looks like we have, okay, yes, here we go. And Deja, feel free to stay with us. I would love to hear more from you if you're down for that.
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
okay, here we go. Okay, so we are bringing in two new guests. Hello, hello, hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, what's up? How's it going?
Really
Good.
How's everyone doing?
Good, good, good. So Queens, I don't know if you've been listening in the chat, but it's popping in here right now, and we are just very excited to hear a bit about you, about your stories. So please, whoever would like to share first, let us know your name. And let's see, the first question that we started with was, I believe it was, now it's way up high. But just tell us a little bit about yourself and your motherhood. Let's do that. And we'll just go with the flow as we've been doing.
Sounds great. I'll go first. My name is Afua. I am a mother to a 2-year-old boy. His name is Zion. He's with my father right now. So um, a lot of everything everyone's been saying has been resonating with me. So it's been really exciting just to hear other Black women share the same values, want the same things when it comes to motherhood for the future of our children, the next generation. So I'm excited for this next generation. The fact that there are these many Black women with the same mindset means the next generation is going to be as powerful as we think they're going to be. So I'm really excited to see and to share with you guys. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, an activist, just pushing the Black diaspora, the entire Black diaspora to where we need to be is my passion. And I'm very excited to talk with and speak with the rest of you.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. All this excellence, and you're so right. It's great to hear mothers like yourself and the other mothers that have already been on and that are gonna be on and who are just listening, right? Who have all these multifaceted talents, who are doing all these amazing things as trailblazers, and to know that we come from women who also did different things to trailblaze, right? And so it's just a beautiful continuation.
Most definitely.
Yes, so thank you for that. So please, sister, introduce yourself. Let us know who you are and tell us a little bit about what it means to you as a Black mother.
My name is Quincy. I am a mom of 2. I have a newborn little baby. She will be 1 month old on Friday, and I also have a 3.5-year-old Coco. You will hear me refer to Coco probably a lot because that's my little buddy. She's still pretty new, but she's my little buddy too. I am a makeup artist by trade. I do a lot of bridal and event makeup artistry. I'm currently not working. I was recently diagnosed with leukemia, so I have been battling leukemia since January. Yeah, it was kind of hard. I got diagnosed with it when I was in my 3rd trimester of my pregnancy with this little one. So yeah, going through that whole thing, dealing with just wrapping my mind around having, I don't know if cancer is considered like a chronic illness or not, but like just wrapping my head around having such a big illness because I've never been sick with anything before, and how to still be a mom, how to be a present mom, like on days when I don't feel good. And, to me, I feel like if you would have asked me last year, like what being a mom means, my answer would have been different. But now it's just, being a Black mom, like I have to show my kids I am human. Okay. Like I absolutely do not have the energy some days to take them outside and play. Like right now, I'm at a point, because I recently finished another round of chemo about 2 weeks ago. So I'm at a point where technically I'm not even supposed to be around people. I can't even take my daughter to the park, to be outside and go play. So I have to really be mindful with myself and not be upset with myself when I can't do something, when I don't have the energy to play, or when I don't have the energy to give her a bath and I have to hand her over to her dad or something like that. I have to remind myself, like, yes, I'm a mom, and yeah, I have superpowers because I'm a mom and I'm amazing. But at the end of the day, I'm still human. And if I want to be here for a long time for my kids and, you know, be able to be in their lives for a long time like I'm wanting to be, I have to allow myself the grace to have rest and to be able to just sleep when I need to sleep. Like the other day, I had to turn on Blue's Clues and PJ Masks for my 3-year-old, and mommy needed to take a nap because mommy was very tired. And you know, like old me, I would have been, oh, I'm sorry. Am I talking too loud? Old me would have been upset with myself, but new me understands like mommy needs to rest, you know? So I'm human. That's what I am right now.
Thank you for that. Yeah, and I think that you know, there's a historical piece to that too, right? And I'm always bringing this back in because it's relevant. Like there's this historical piece of this ideology that was put into the world that said that Black bodies didn't need rest, right? And that we could tolerate the highest levels of pain and all of that. And those things were used to justify the dehumanization that was happening against our bodies. And so we're living in a time where, you know, after the abolishment of slavery, we still didn't have, like, there was reform, but it's not like there was a bunch of therapy and other like programs and things out there to support people in knowing the difference between what parts of who I've been and how I've been doing things has been through my survival of of the brutality we've been facing, and what parts of these things you know, nurture and grow and align with my deepest values, and how do I find that balance in that? And that's been a generational thing that Black moms have been figuring out, right? We've been refiguring that out as we go. And so I want to ask for anyone that feels called to expand upon that part of, like, what piece of truth would you give to your sisters who are in their journeys of mothering and reclaiming your own, like, full humanness as a mom, and how that changed from when you first became a mom to where you are now as a mom? I know that was a loaded question, so feel free to process and and let it flow.
I could definitely go first. I think what this journey, and I agree, I just didn't get your name. Our sister at the bottom. Yes,
Oh,
you.
Quincy.
Quincy.
Oh, Quincy.
Perfect. You're going through leukemia, and I'm battling, but I just recognize I have ADHD. So navigating mental health issues as a Black woman has been the most interesting thing. And why I even care to do it now is because I'm noticing how it's impacting my mothering. And when I was alone, I could navigate this world with ADHD and the different mental illnesses that I had just fine, because it wasn't impacting, or there was no results on anyone else's life. But now that I have my son here, I have to give grace to myself. And I find that Black women just don't know how to do that. Black people in general, but Black women the most, do not know how to give grace to themselves and recognize that we are human beings, that there's a journey in life, there's a journey in our stories. And the big thing about giving grace to yourself is understanding, just like Quincy said, is that we're human beings. We're not perfect. We are going to be angry. We are going to be tired. We are going to not want a mother. We're going to wake up one day and want the father to do his job. So these different things, and not feeling guilty in that. That is something that I am battling right now. And just as I said, giving myself grace, giving myself the opportunity to see myself as a human being. And I think if I was never a mother, I would have never even embarked on that journey, because in the reflection and seeing myself as a human being, I can do the same thing for my son. And understand as a baby, just like I think her name was Naila, when she was speaking on the different things that she has to do when her child is having the fits, and being a human being, and understanding that they're 2 years old or they're toddlers. So them even internalizing what it means to a human being, they don't have the tools we have as adults. So if I can have grace with myself, I will have grace with him. And then what's happening for me is we're both going on this journey and understanding what our purpose is, our destiny, and what being a human being means. And that's been an exciting journey for me.
Thank you for that. Wow. I'm whoever would like to chime in on that, please do.
I will be right back. I'm just gonna go get the baby. I'll be right back, ladies.
The mother thing, okay? We're doing the mother thing. I might have to peek out too and make sure everything is all good. So y'all, we are diving deep right now. And Deja, I want to offer you the space as well. If there's anything that you want to add into this piece or that has been coming to you, like, please feel free. Now's a great time.
Yeah, it's similar to what she just said. As far as a big thing that as a doula, not just even my personal experience, but as a doula that I've been working with people with when they have the baby, not just like supporting them during their birth, but like once the baby's actually here, is back to that grace, is to navigate knowing, especially as like a first time mom, but even you had your second baby, to navigate that space with you knowing that you might not have all the answers, or you might not know, again, a first time mom, how to be a mom. Like, just because you've had this baby doesn't mean that all of a sudden you've been handed the book on this baby too. Like, there's plenty of advice and stuff, but you don't know about this baby, right? And like Quincy, like, you've had your other baby, and now you have this new baby, and this is a whole new baby that it's time to learn.
Whole new kid.
And and it's like